To your face, Ty.
Makeup.
You put makeup on it?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
7.
No. How old are you?
7.
You're 4.
No, it's 7.
Are you a boy or a girl?
A girl.
A girl?
Mm-hmm.
Were you born a girl? Were you born a girl?
Yes.
When you were a baby, were you a girl?
Yes.
Are you in a boy's body, though?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, tell TikTok bye.
So not only does this kid not know his age, but he has a parent who's telling him, you are a girl. And I don't blame the kid here because he's a kid. What kind of mentally ill, abusive parent would take their little boy and would try to convince them that they're a girl? That's child abuse.
So, first of all, let's look at the hypocrisy. This is obviously a boy. Everybody knows it's a boy. But she says, oh, I'm a girl. Oh, okay, so you're a girl. You say you're a girl, you're a girl. Well, he says he's 7. Why isn't he 7? Mom, why isn't he 7? He identifies as a 7-year-old. How dare you? How dare you deny your own child to make up his own age? Oh, that doesn't make sense to you. But with gender, it does. See, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. The logic should be applied universally, or it's not logic. It's lying. It's propaganda. So that's another example. Why can't a 4-year-old identify as 7 if it's a boy identifying as a girl? It makes no difference. It's not a girl. It's not a 7-year-old. But if it wants to identify, and here's another thing that's happening, and this is actually sad. This is when you get into the abuse part that I think that these kids are dealing with. You know that the mother put that boy up to it for however long. Who knows if they've been doing it for years, putting kids' girl clothes on him or putting makeup on him. It's not something that he did on his own. In other words, sometimes kids may see their mother putting on lipstick or makeup and, just try to mimic that. That's a normal thing to mimic your parents. But that's clearly somebody's teaching that boy, hey, dress like a girl, pretend you're a girl, say you're a girl. And I don't know about this TikTok account or whoever that was, but that there are parents that use their children to get internet clout. They will literally use their children to get internet clout. They'll abuse their children to get internet clout. Psychologically, just to get internet clout. That's another example is what, in fact, I was talking about Savannah earlier. It's like there's so many elements of the internet that you could say, wow, this is so great. And then there's so many elements of the internet that have just brought so much evil on this planet. And that's another one, using your kids for internet clout. That is sick. That's what I think this person is doing right here.
No, and they are. They absolutely are. And it is so interesting because it's like they're dealing with their own trauma by experimenting on their kids. And I get this too, because like a lot of people are very unhappy in the world, okay? And they don't know why. A lot of people have, we're not just talking about sexuality here, like in terms of like, oh, are you gay, are you straight type of thing. But a lot of people are real suppressed in their sexuality. They're very unhappy in their sex life. A lot of married people are, like they want to try new things. They want to do things the other person doesn't. Usually one person wants sex more than the other. And, it creates frustrations. So then when you add in things like porn, people get introduced to all types of new things. And so then they want to try them. You also introduce trauma, like sexual trauma, being molested, etc. And, people's sexualities can get really confusing. And connected with that does become a lot of the way that their identities are connected. This is where actually sexuality and gender are actually connected, in the fact that like a guy could so there could go two ways. Like if you're molested as a guy, you could kind of go in two directions. You could either kind of go more gay, or you could overcompensate and try to be more masculine because you're like, I'm not gay. I got raped as a kid, but I'm not gay. So I'm going to join the military and join football because I'm not gay. And then, or you might just be like, I'm a little bit feminine. And then everyone tells you, oh, you're probably gay. And you're like, I guess I am. So meaning like these things can genuinely like affect people, and people grow up. And a lot of people, because the world was less accepting of people who had different lifestyles in previous decades, a lot of people are living a lifestyle that they felt they should. They're working, like I said, a job they don't like. A lot of people don't really like their families that much. This is a true statement. Some of you guys are resonating with this. It's not me, but I'm saying I talk to a lot of you guys and I get a lot of emails and I talk to a lot of people. So a lot of people are unhappy, and a lot of people think like, what did I do wrong? Like what could have been better? And this is where I think a lot of this comes from. And they look at like a lot of like, dude, the boomers, you guys were the worst parents ever. Like literally, like you guys raised millennials were so screwed up because of you guys bad parents. I'm not joking. And you guys ruined a country.
In their defense, they had a lot to go up against.
Yes, but
propaganda-wise.
yes, but I totally. We know who did the propaganda and what went on and why it's like that. But I'm saying still, you could have been stronger. And but you go to this. So like, what these parents are is like, they're going, man, like maybe if I had an opportunity, I know what's going on, like to like do things differently, then or if people give me more freedom, then I would. But they're not realizing that like, yes, there is such a bad thing as like bad rigidity, like not understanding people's backgrounds or taking it into an account. But what they do is they take their kids and they go, look, things were too square when I was growing up and I don't like my life. So I'm going to take off all the reins. I'm going to take off all of the boundaries and I'm going to let you explore who you want to be, even down to denying your biological sex that you were created by. And so they think they're doing something good because they don't want their kids to grow up unhappy like they are. And but the point is that it's like, dude, nobody ever fully knows who they are. No one's ever fully confident with every part of themselves. That's why even people that are confident are always developing because there's always weaker spots you can improve on. There's always new parts of your personality you didn't realize that you can make better. You can learn new skills. You can X out addictions. Like we're all forming and evolving and changing every day. And it's like the goal is not then to take the pain that you have that people put on you that left you unhappy and then transfer that trauma into children so that they then say, well, then go free, go free, Willie, go swim in the ocean, be who you want to be. Because what you're doing is the opposite of what happened to you. You were in an environment where you were not allowed to deal with the issues in your life. You didn't have good friends, good parents. You weren't able to cope and build and improve yourself. So instead of like building a better system, you remove the system entirely and you're just these kids up. This kid's going to be so messed up, man. Like realistically speaking, like you are setting these kids up to fail. And that's why this is so messed up because we call them child abusers because it is child abuse. But it's like, how do you stop child abuse? It's by understanding what's going on in these people's minds so we can try to change the culture and try to get into their heads. And these people are being lied to and they're being reinforced saying, yeah, the way you're a good parent is to just let your kid identify as whoever they want to. And it's like, look, parent, I understand your trauma and I would love to just sit down with you and talk and hang out. And I hope you find good friends in your life that you can work through life together. You can find God and find faith. But like the way to cope with your pain is not to lead a young one astray because nothing hurts God's heart pretty much more than people abuse children. Like he says that better is a millstone tied around your neck and you're thrown into the deepest part of the sea than to lead a child astray. So it's like, I'm not ignorant. I'm not just like, these people. And it's not like I just don't understand. I get it. It's wrong. What you're doing is wrong and I have to call it out too. You need help and your kid's going to need help too. You're making it worse.
Well, that's another example. But that's somebody trying to live their life synonymously through their kid. So that's like another level of psychological abuse that they try to live synonymously through their kid, whatever they didn't get to experience or whatever. And that can be a dangerous thing. And this is also why, this is one of the biggest problems that we have is children are not meant to be sexualized. They're just not. Your body is not ready for that. Your brain doesn't properly respond to that until after puberty. The chemicals in your body change, your sexual energy starts to develop and all of that stuff. So once you start hitting kids with that sexual energy way too young, the whole system gets thrown out of whack. And so that's just a major problem that I think as a society that we need to start trying to reverse as best we can. It seems that everything's going in the opposite direction now with people like Meg the Stallion and Cardi B just doing basically softcore porn for children now. It gets promoted on all the social media. So, I mean, you're messing with the kids' minds. But here's the mistake that you were alluding to earlier that I think the boomers made that I don't think millennials are going to make in raising their kids. Now, leftist millennials, you obviously forget about that. There's no hope for them in general. But conservative millennials, we understand the propaganda now. We understand the propaganda and we understand that our children are a target of it every day. And so boomer parents didn't really understand that. It was kind of a new thing for them. There were and plus, the boomer generation, that was after, the US victories of wars. So everybody was fat and happy. The economy was booming, easy times make soft men type of thing. And so they weren't properly protecting their children because the way they saw America was all fine and good. But I think conservative millennials are not going to make that same mistake. We know where the propaganda is. We know where the targets on the children are. And so conservative millennials are now doing everything they can to try to shield their kids from that stuff, whether it's homeschooling or private schooling or not letting them on certain websites or not letting them on certain apps or not letting them use smartphones or tablets. So that hedge of protection that I don't think was there as common from boomer parents. It was there for some. I mean, I had a very conservative mother. She tried to shield my eyes from all of it. It was impossible. And I mean, my mother was probably like 95% as strict conservative Christian as you're going to find. Like, didn't want me to watch anything. Didn't want me to see anything sexual, curse words, like nothing until eventually, once you're in high school age. Once you're at high school age, there's not much they can do. But even
I grew up
before
with
that,
very conservative parents as well, and I don't know what happened.
but we still found everything, right? I mean, everything they did,
I found too many things.
everything they wanted you not to see or hear, you still found it because it was harder for them to, I think, form a hedge of protection or a barrier against all the propaganda for the children because it was all so new. But now we know it. We saw it. And so now we know it and we understand it and we can do a better job, I think, protecting the next generation of Americans.
No, I agree. And like you see this, like this woman who's like, we gotta make my son even wear a mask outside. It's like,
Ugh.
I know.